Happy Thursday, everybody. It is office hours here on hosting.com's Agency Success. So glad you're with us today. Every Thursday, we open the doors to the virtual office and you get to pop in here and ask whatever questions you would like to ask. And as usual, I have a number of things to talk about as we're getting started today to get the discussion flowing. Several things actually today. So let's get started first, though, with a question that Gene asked in the pre-show about the replays for office hours. And I didn't notice this, but apparently we're a couple of weeks behind on that. There is a team that handles that here at hosting.com. And I know some of them have been at overseas and doing some things. There's a loop conf going on, etc. So I'm not sure what's the deal is there, but I will look into it afterwards. It does take several days to get those posted. So we will look into that, though. All right, a few things to get us started today. There are, if you're not aware of it, earlier this year, it was announced that there would only be one major WordPress release for 2025. Now, that was due to the cutbacks in contributions that many companies in the WordPress ecosystem, most notably Automatic, had made. They've cut back the number of people contributing to the WordPress project, and as a result, they slimmed down the development cycle for core WordPress. Through the summer, though, Automatic in particular dialed up its contributions. I believe some other companies have followed suit. And as a result of that, there will be another release of WordPress core for this year. So that will be coming up in, should be released in December. December the 2nd, WordPress 6.9 is planning to be released. So there's a number of really interesting things that are included in this release that are beyond just the stuff going on in the site editor, which has honestly been the majority of most of the changes in WordPress in the last couple of years. So there's a few really important things I am excited about. The first of these is really, if you're using blocks at all, you'll probably like this. There's a new feature coming to core called block commenting. And so this will allow you to comment with other users on blocks. It's really helpful for collaborating. It's one of the stepping stones in place to actually have live collaboration on WordPress pages and posts. So pretty cool. And it really sets that stage for the real-time collaboration. Another thing that's coming is it's block visibility settings that are going to allow you in core WordPress to show and hide certain blocks on the front end. So for example, let's say on a page, you've got a block with an event coming or, a new product that's going to be released or whatever, and it's in a block. You'll actually be able to have that block present in the back end where it can still be there and ready and worded and tweaked and whatever, but it's set to don't display this on the front end. And so there's certain tools that allow you to do those certain things now, but this is a feature that is going to be coming into core WordPress in 6.9. Now, those are a couple of basic things. The next ones I find very, very interesting. And the first is the new AI integration and abilities API. Now, that is we've talked about it a little bit here in the past, but that's a huge addition to WordPress. The abilities AI basically exposes this is oversimplified, but it basically exposes all the things that WordPress and plugins that are participating, all the things that they can do in an API where it can be talked to by other things. And what this sets the stage for is an AI tool to come in and have access to all of these things that WordPress can do. This is WordPress 6.9. That's going to be one of the, it could really be transformational for WordPress going forward. Like that might be the foundational version where a lot of these things happen. So for example, let me just show you. Well, actually, I'll mention the other thing that I'll show you how these two things might work together. So Abilities API is coming. That's been a labor of love from the WordPress AI team. The other thing that's coming is the command palette is going to be everywhere. So if you've been playing around in the site editor at all, you will have probably seen the command palette, which is like the big universal global search bar thing at the top. Now that's going to be coming into WordPress core everywhere, meaning that you have like if you're on a Mac, you've got Spotlight search, right? Or Windows has something similar as well. That's like a global thing that just finds whatever it is you want to do and it takes you there, right? That's now going to be coming to core WordPress. And if, as Chris mentions in the chat just now, if you are a keystroke person, like you love keyboard shortcuts and things like that, this is going to blow you away. You're going to absolutely love it because with a single keystroke, you can pop open that command palette and just start typing something and it'll give you the links and you can just go there all with your keyboard. That's pretty darn cool. It's also really great for accessibility in the WordPress backend. But let me just give you an example. I got to share my here. Here's a video from James Kemp that shows the Abilities API in the command palette. Now notice, here we are in the dashboard itself, and here's how this feature could work. So we're going to play. Okay, there's the command palette. Let me just stop there. So backing up a second. This is the command palette. It pops up like a modal, and it covers your screen like this, and then you can just type. So you're starting to type S, and some things start showing up. So stock report. So let's go to that, and boom, it opens this modal, again, a live preview of things. But look, it's interactive. It's not just a list of edit page or whatever, like the command palette is now. It's actual data that the Abilities API is pulling in. And look at this, like he's showing here, you can like update the stock from right here in this modal, and that's impacting the products right now. This is unbelievable. It's super cool. And so this is coming again. There, you may recall that maybe a year ago, almost 2 years ago, there was a plugin that somebody made that does something like this, and it was pretty expensive. This is now in core, and it's going to be very similar to that. So there's one example. Here's another example of the Abilities API on a WooCommerce product. So here we're going to update stock, and look at that right there. Whoop, that went really fast. So right here, update product stock. It knows what product it's on, and right stock quantity 65. Let's see if okay, so let me keep going. Okay, so it shows 65. That, if you notice down here, is the actual product stock. So let's change that to 68, and boom, it just updated it right there. That's the Abilities API. So amazing. This, again, could be like major change in how you use WordPress. So let's keep this going. Update product price. The same again. Product 180. That's what pops up here in the lightbox. In the modal, change it to 185. Done. And all that's with keyboard. No mousing. It just keyboard keystrokes. So that's pretty darn cool. And Sue is mentioning, does there have to be a Woo update? No, because it knows already the WooCommerce is exposing all these things via the Abilities API to the command palette. So all plugins have to do it. Any plugin, as long as it can talk to the Abilities API, and there's a standard way for it to do that, they'll be able to hook in. Like, let's just say you use Yoast SEO on everything. Well, Yoast is more than likely, I would imagine, going to integrate with this. So all that stuff is available right there in the command palette. You just search and type and it works. It's pretty amazing. So all that is coming. That's WordPress 6.9 coming on December the 2nd. So after Black Friday, thankfully, that's a good thing. Something else you may have noticed is this new AI mode in Google. Have you seen this? So if you're using the latest version of Chrome, you'll notice now that in this address bar, press tab and then enter to ask AI mode. This is available for everyone now who's using the latest versions of Chrome. We hit tab and enter, and now we're in AI mode with a conversational generative AI interface for Gemini. And Shanta, thank you. This is US only currently. I'm sure they'll be rolling it out. There are likely things that have to be dealt with for international law. So pretty cool. If you hadn't played with this yet, pretty interesting. It is funny though that it the first suggestion is explain the WP engine versus automatic lawsuit. So there you have it. I'm sure it's using my search history against me for things that I could think about. But anyway, that's that. Pretty neat stuff. Let's see. A couple of other things I'll mention. Have you seen SuperCal? So SuperCal is it's a calendar tool that's built to be a Calendly killer. This is built by a team that includes the founder of Kayak, the travel website. It is totally free. It is beautiful and it works. I tinkered around with this a little bit, and I would really encourage you to take a look at this. Pretty nifty. Yeah, supercal, as in supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Thank you for this. Does it replace Calendly? Yeah, it really could. Now, you want to play with it and make sure I've spent this much time looking at it, but the interface is beautiful. It connected right up to my Google Calendar and so forth. So I'm not sure how the question here is, how will it be monetized and how is this all going to work? Because it is totally free right now. Like you don't even have to put a credit card in to use it. Okay, actually two more things. Are you a Gravity Forms person? If you are a Gravity Forms person, then you will really want to look at this, which is a free plugin called Gravity MCP from the Gravity Kit people. And MCP is basically, it stands for Model Context Protocol. And this is it's like they say exactly what it is. It's a bridge that connects an API, an AI assistant through a common vocabulary, structured data, basically, between an application like Gravity Forms and the AI tool. So what this little tool will let you do, if you've ever tried to use, like there's a way right now where you could use Zapier to take a Gravity Form entry and talk to ChatGPT with it and so forth. This simplifies that whole process. And so you could take, for example, a form entry and immediately pass it into a ChatGPT conversation or a Claude conversation. This bears experimentation. I haven't spent a lot of time with this yet, but it's really cool. And having an MCP that's already set up and ready to let Gravity Forms talk to your preferred AI tool is pretty powerful. So that's brand new this week. The last thing that I'll mention is I'm going to drop our new link bundle into the chat. And if you're looking for a place for all of the upcoming live streams, this is it. Aside from this typo right here, which is out of my control, the upcoming live streams are here. So there's a lot of fun stuff here. I'm going to talk briefly about this in just a minute, but there's a live stream coming up October the 7th with Daphne from the hosting.com team. And she's going to talk about how they migrated all of the stuff at A2 Hosting over into hosting.com when that transition happened and so that they didn't lose anything. Confident consultations, I'll be talking about that first meeting with the client on October the 14th. Then we have one on October the 15th, the Wednesday, on boosting site speed. So all those links are right here. You can register for those. And the links for all of this are now in the chat. Now, you'll notice also we have a couple of shortcuts for replays. myagencysuccess.com/office hours replays takes you directly to the office hours playlist, as does myagencysuccess.com/replays. And that takes you to all the agency success live streams and that playlist for YouTube. So all that's now set up and working. Really happy about that. Coming up on Tuesday is the hosting blueprint live stream. I'm preparing that as not as we speak because I'm talking to you, but I've been working on this all week. I'm really excited about this one, especially because we're going to be talking a little bit more about Rocket.net. And if you've never played around with Rocket.net, it is pretty amazing. I migrated NathanIngram.com over to Rocket.net this week. And let me just show you something here. This is, by the way, a Beaver Builder site. The homepage has a background video. And I want you to look at this speed because it is pretty darn amazing. Let it run its thing. This is mobile on a Beaver Builder site with a background video. And I may actually need to move this to a guest browser. I think I have a browser tab that's interfering with something here. Let's go to a guest profile. Let's see what it gives us. This is acting strange and taking forever. Whenever you're doing a Lighthouse speed test, it's always better to use a guest browser profile so that your browser extensions don't get in the way. Look at that. With a background video on mobile, 98%. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. This is rocket.net, which is the new managed WordPress, not new. It's a new member of the hosting.com family for managed WordPress. Really amazing. The speed is outstanding. Speed before was in the high 60s, low 70s before adjustments. Yeah. This got in, some browser extension got in the way. That's why what you want to do if you're doing a Lighthouse browser speed test, click on your little profile icon here and do open guest profile. That's a blank browser, no extensions loaded. Those browser extensions can impact your page load speed. Yeah. Rocket.net, if you're not familiar with it, is right here. This is a hosting provider. This is now a member of the hosting.com family. It is basically a wrapper for Cloudflare Enterprise. Now, Cloudflare Enterprise costs like over $100 a month, but they've wrapped all the features of Cloudflare Enterprise inside a managed WordPress hosting package, and you get all of like the super caching, edge caching, all the things. It is really remarkable. So we'll be talking about that as one way to host client sites, and that'll be on Tuesday. Anyway, that was a lot. All right. So if you have a question to ask, you may do so using the link in the chat. We currently have 8 questions in the queue. And let me drag over our question box. And we will begin today with a question from Paul. All right, Paul. I deleted a certain backup plugin that had many cron jobs active when it is installed. I see that they still remain after the plugin is gone. When I look at them with a plugin like cron schedules, not sure if that is the best one to use, it says I cannot delete them because they are used by a plugin which is no longer there. What is the best way to clean this up? Reinstate the plugin, which some would say is quite solid, and cancel any schedules it finds. Something else along the same line. Okay, so let's stop right there and we'll come back. So I'm going to guess that you're talking about this particular plugin right here. And there shouldn't be any cron jobs. Paul, are you talking about actually action scheduler items, scheduled actions? Because this is where solid backups and many WordPress plugin-based backups put their actions. So it should be in the action scheduler. And if those items remain, then yes, the best thing to do would be for you to go in and make sure you have turned off all the schedules. It's weird that it wouldn't let you delete it, though. Yeah. Make sure all the schedules are at least disabled, right? And then you can run, if you want to, in solid backups, the diagnostics and clean all that stuff up. Running a daily, like run a forced cancel and then run a regular housekeeping, and that should clean everything up. But you shouldn't need another plugin to deal with all the scheduled actions. You can find that at tools and scheduled actions. And from here, like we can look at the pending items and you can cancel or bulk delete these right here in scheduled actions. So this is the action scheduler. It was developed by the WooCommerce team to manage all the things that WooCommerce does. It is a very reliable way to deal with scheduled actions instead of WP cron. And solid backups in particular moved away from WP cron a long time ago and into the action scheduler. So this is where I would go. Like right here, you can see there's a backup buddy thing. You can cancel it, delete it, whatever. You can also just search for backup, whatever. Yes. So delete here. This will clean it all up for you. It is odd, however, that it didn't clean itself up. Oh, there's one more question. Along the same lines, if there are currently failed backups lingering, then so you could do the same thing to clean up those failed backups. But Action Scheduler is pretty good about cleaning up after itself after, I can't remember what the default amount of time. Like here, there's 35 failed actions. I don't know what's going on there. But it'll clean up after itself. If you see hundreds of failed actions, I mean, you can just, bulk delete. It's not going to hurt anything to do that. Paul is asking, do failed backups linger even if the plugin is deleted? You might have some remnants out there if that is the case. And there, doing a housekeeping would be helpful. And then you can just go look in the uploads folder. Pardon me. In the uploads folder, in the backups folder, you can just delete that altogether if you want to. Should you reinstall to do those things? You don't have to. You can just use Action Scheduler and clean up anything that lingers, and then go out to the uploads directory for that backup plugin and just delete it. Delete it. Yeah. And this is any backup plugin works similarly to this. Most WordPress plugin-based backups work very similar. Okay. Does that get everything for you, Paul? All righty. Next up is Tanya. Hey, Tanya. Tanya has a WooCommerce conundrum, and I apparently can't copy and paste today. There we go. Many texts. Okay. Trying to reduce the number of variations on a product. Okay. An example site. Not mine. All right, so let's let that load. The product has the following attributes: size, fabric type, and color. Color doesn't alter the price, but the other two options do. The colors are conditional depending on the fabric type chosen and vice versa. Boy. With this one brand, Beach King, it would create over 1,600 variations if I include the colors and the variations. So I was thinking of creating a MetaBox custom field or using a product add-on plugin. If using MetaBox, I am not sure. Okay, so, all right, yeah. I'm not sure how to insert a custom field into the antiquated table system that WooCommerce refuses to let go of for the variation block. Also, not sure how to make the colors show all on load and then change conditionally based on the fabric type choice. This is complicated. Complicated. Any ideas? And yes. So first of all, it is complicated, but not uncommon. And there are plugins which you can use. I think there's a Barn2 plugin that does this, that will help simplify this. Yeah. And Melanie has it in the chat. Look at that. So WooCommerce product options is your friend. It's going to simplify a lot of this. The link is already there. I was about to copy it and put it again. This is a good plugin to use. Barn2 plugins are good code and well supported. I would probably start there. However, I don't believe. I think this plugin, if I'm not wrong, changes the way these things display the options, but I do believe you still have to deal with all the product variations. So All right. When you're creating the product, I've lost my access to WP Nathan. As you're creating a custom product, see if we have any variable products set up. I don't know that we do. Okay, Melanie is saying you don't have to use product variations with that plugin. So there's your answer. I was thinking it just updated the options here, but if it will allow you a simpler way around this, then that's your answer. Highly recommend Barn2 plugins. So Melanie, this avoids the need to create 40,000 variations. Excellent. Well, there is the answer. Very good. Thank you for that extra clarity, Melanie. All righty. Next up is Elizabeth. Hey, Elizabeth. I was going to talk about this in the intro and I forgot. I keep getting this message about WordPress core, but there are no updates. What should I do? So there is currently a low risk vulnerability in WordPress core. This happens from time to time. It is, if you go in and look at this, it requires a privileged user, meaning this is not going to impact subscribers or just anybody that can register for your website. They have to have some level of privilege. So contributor or author, both of whom have write privileges, WRITE privileges in WordPress. So there is a series of things that has to happen for this to be exploited, which that's why the vulnerability score is lower. I don't know what the plan is to fix these. This only came out in the last week or so. I would imagine they'll deal with this in core WordPress, but I haven't specifically seen any plan for it yet. It could be that they patch this in WordPress 6.9. It's not an urgent fix. So, if you are, this is where it's good. We had a discussion a number of weeks ago about, do we still need a WordPress security plugin given security protocols at hosts? And for a reason exactly like this, that's why you hear me say yes. And so a plugin, a WordPress security plugin that does WordPress security well, meaning it doesn't try to do things like malware scanning or other things that just bloat. It's code bloat. But it really does a good job at protecting the WordPress users by doing, vulnerable password scanning and giving users ways to protect their account, like two-factor authentication and passkeys and trusted devices and things like that, where you're really controlling the login to WordPress. That's the place today, in my opinion, for a good WordPress security plugin. It doesn't need to be doing a lot of firewall stuff or file malware scanning. It needs to be dealing with the WordPress user experience and protecting those user accounts, and pulling in things like, PatchStack does, letting it, PatchStack, protecting and virtually patching vulnerable software. So this is a known thing. I don't see anybody's hair on fire about it. It does require a series of events, a series of unfortunate events in order to exploit this. So, yeah, I have muted this vulnerability in our security plugin. So I am not overly concerned about it. I expect that it will be patched soon. Fair enough? All righty, moving right along to Chris. Hey, Chris. Chris with a K. Sue, following up on that, do we allow minor updates to WordPress? Absolutely. That is the default behavior of WordPress, and I would not change that. So we don't allow major core updates. That needs to be instituted manually. But we do allow WordPress to do its default behavior of installing minor releases. That's the third number release. like 6.8.3. I'm not typing. 6.8.3. Like this is the minor update. This is the major update. And unless you tell it otherwise, WordPress does install those minor releases automatically. And it would be a minor release that would correct something like this. Whether they might include it in WordPress 6.9, but if they did, they would backwards patch all the last several versions of WordPress as well. Good note from Stacy there in the chat also. Let's say you have a site with a bunch of author users. You might want to like add two-factor or something onto those users just to give an extra level of protection in case something might go wrong. But yeah, again, like if there's a problem and somebody injects malware, you ought to have something running at your server level that's catching the malware. And in hosting.com environment, that would be Immunify 360, which is an excellent file level scanner that runs at the server level. And that's for both hosting.com and rocket.net sites. It's doing those regular file level malware scanning and let you know if there's a problem. Yeah. Okay. Next up is Sue. And it's actually the exact same question. Thank you for that, Sue. Regarding the WordPress vulnerability. Okay, next up. Oh, Terry, thank you for that note. This is a really interesting plugin also from the Fluent team that does authentication. So if you are, it's 100% free. It provides two-factor, magic email login, social login, which I wouldn't recommend, limiting login attempts, all these things. This is free, and it's from the Fluent team, so it's going to be good. Those folks build great plugins. So thank you, Terry, for reminding me about that. Okie dokie. Next up is Stacy with an E. Hey, Stacy. All right. My WooCommerce client wants me to download. My WooCommerce client wants me to download all the products, images, and their descriptions for a website she'll be closing down. What does that even mean? I will be eventually adding these products to her main Woo website. I am a newbie to using WP Export Import Pro. I exported all the products and I see image URL in the spreadsheet. When I import the bundle to the main Woo website, does the current website still have to be available? The images show up as a URL in a downloaded file. So, yes, what I would do if I were you, Stacy, and pausing 1 second. Chris Malone, are you still here? Chris is from my team and is our resident WP import export. Okay, so do you have to have the Woo add-on to export Woo products and images? I know you do to do orders. Okay, Stacy has the Woo add-on, so it's a moot point. I don't know if it does Woo just the post type. Okay, Chris says if you download the images and put them in the media library of the new site, it will search the media library for the image because it's going to key on the name, right? Okay, but either way, you've got the Woo add-on, so that's great. What I would, yeah, so Chris says set it to search by file name to match the image. Chris has done this 1 million times for us over the last few years. I will say this plugin is a lifesaver. And so if you're looking for a place to spend some money on Black Friday, they usually do offer a deal. And WP All Import, and that's, by the way, Stacy, you're talking about WP All Import, right? Yeah. WP All Import is like we use that tool frequently, and it has saved so much time. A little bit of an investment, but that's one of those plugins that's good just to buy. Because if you're doing a lot of work with moving websites and doing like you have an old website with 1,000 blog posts and you want to move it over where the images actually appear on the new site, that's your tool. Super, super good stuff. Yeah, Terry has another recommendation there in the chat as well. So anyway, all that to say, Stacy, what I would do if I were you is I would download, make sure you get a good backup of the site, and save that in an archive somewhere that's not ever going to go away, just in case you need it. Then you can download your export bundle and so forth. But are you familiar, Stacy, with Local? It used to be called Local by Flywheel. I think they just changed the name to Local. It's localwp.com. This is a fantastic local development app. And you can just, like, if you're using, I think you're using solid backups, right? If you just drop in there a solid backup zip file, it will explode it and turn it into a website locally. It is so good for things like this, especially if you need to, re-get some things or whatever. So keep a backup. Use something like Local as a local development option if you need it. Just to have the site there to refer to later, it's really great for that. And it's free. It costs $0. It is, by the way, a WP Engine product. So if you have, issues with WP Engine, that's, whatever. But there you go. Okay, Stacy, does that get you where you want to be? Good to go? Okay, for now it does. So we may hear about this again later. That's okay. All right, next up is Chris with a K. Hey, Chris. All right, Chris says, I'm working on a site, a recipe site. Chris, are you going to tell your life story for every recipe on the recipe page? Please don't do that. Hopefully not. Let me tell you the entire etymology of mashed potatoes before you. Anyway, okay. The site owner has affiliate products and wants a shop page for them. She will have a link to a tool or product that she uses in the recipe. Pot, measuring spoons, all on Amazon. That's a very good idea. I thought what I might do is just make a list with links to the actual products, but that gets kind of complicated for her to clean up. Seems to be too small to do an entire WooCommerce site, but I want something big enough to grow for a while. I'm thinking I should probably just do Woo. Any ideas? The site has just started, very little traffic. Okay, so I would, Chris, how technical are you? I can't remember. Do you feel good making a custom post type and doing some things with something like Metabox or ACF? Do you use one of those tools? Metabox or ACF or pods? Custom post type in Metabox. Okay, so you could totally do this with WooCommerce, but it would be a solution this big for a problem this big. Okay, so what I would do is I would create a custom post type of products, affiliate products, or whatever you want it to call it, right? And literally all you need in that custom post type is like the title for the product, the Amazon URL in a custom field. And if you wanted to, you could put, an image there, a product image or whatever. But what you can do is on posts, like, are these recipes in posts or are they in their own custom post type? Doesn't matter. But what you can do is you can, in a post, you can create a Metabox field, or if you're using ACF or pods, it does, I think it's a relationship field, same thing. You can use this relationship field to say any post that is in this post type of products becomes a taxonomy term for this product. So what that would essentially let you do is tag all the products that were used on this recipe video or whatever, right? And they're just terms. And it's live, like you add it, it's live. You add a new product, it's going to be available in that taxonomy list. And then on the page where the recipe is, you can just output the relationship products as a list, and there they are. They might have an image or not. You can click them, and you could have it, the display click it to the URL that's there. Now that's medium level difficult. And there's some things that are involved in that, but that's what I would do. Does that make sense? That would be the cleanest, simplest way. You could put WooCommerce on there. You could make, an external URL for these things. The difference is, do you want all the products and images and that sort of stuff on your website, or do you just want to link off to Amazon? So what I just described is probably the way we would do it with the information that I know right now. You could just do a custom post type with a recipe and show it on its own page. Yeah, you could. Okay. So does that make Chris, is that good? She has a year or two before she needs something more. I mean, maybe. And then the thing is, if it's your own custom post type of products, you could just add stuff to that as you needed it and kind of keep it as light as it needs to be for now and then grow it. Because literally all WooCommerce is a bunch of product. It's a custom post type with a bunch of extra stuff. And you probably don't need 90% of that extra stuff running on this site. Melanie has an interesting option here. Amazon. Oh, with all of this. Yeah, this does a lot of Amazon affiliate stuff. The question would be, could you associate this product with a post, right? So that's an option. Maybe look into that as well. Funny how they only slightly hijack the Amazon logo. Like enough, that's a very clever bit of design. Just enough to go, yeah, it looks like Amazon without, incurring the wrath of the lawyers. Okay. Well, good luck with that, Chris. That sounds like a fun project. Okie dokie. Next up is Ben. Ben Anderson. How are you, sir? All right, Ben. When I replace an image using Enable Media Replace, it doesn't always get replaced. If I open the image in a new tab and shift reload, it loads the new image, but not on the page where it shows. Oh, okay, yes. I use short pixel and light speed cache. I've tried clearing all the things. I tried it in another browser, but it's not changing there, so it has to be cache on the site. It doesn't have to be cache because sometimes for whatever, I've seen the same thing. Sometimes for whatever reason, it might not actually regenerate the thumbnails for that image. And you're probably using a sized version of that image. So Ben, I betcha that if you upload the image or just go into one that's not working and add a plugin such as, do we have it on here? No. Regenerate thumbnails. Buy this one right here. You tried manually regenerating thumbnails, Ben? Did you skip regenerating existing thumbnails, as this is the default setting and this is not going to help you? So we uncheck this, delete old thumbnails, hit regenerate, and let it do its thing. If you did it with the default settings, it's not going to work. Did you uncheck skip also? This is regenerate thumbnails by Alex Mills. So just make sure that you skip the existing thumbnails. Regenerate thumbnails advanced. I'm not familiar with that one. Who knows what that does? Let's take a look. Oh, it's a short pixel. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people don't like it for some reason. Who knows why? Regenerate thumbnails is kind of the gold standard for this kind of work. So with this one, when we go into it, oh, you know what? It doesn't give us any, it just does it. There's no options. So I wonder if there are options here that are global. Hmm. I don't know. Ben, I don't know. I have to get in this to see what's going on here. Get rid of that and try the actual OG regenerate thumbnails plugin. So I bet you, yeah, see, it doesn't, it just regenerate. I don't, it says it regenerates the thumbnails. We don't know if it fixed, like, did it overwrite existing thumbnails or not? I don't know. With the OG regenerate thumbnails plugin, you can tell it to don't skip correctly sized thumbnails and delete the old ones if they have unregistered file sizes. That way it just wipes everything and actually regenerates it. So give that a try. I bet you that's the problem. I've seen that happen too. All right. Melanie is next. Okay, I've been booking plugin shopping. That is really hard to say. I need a booking plugin for a car loan ministry for 20 cars. They provide cars for missionaries on furlough. That's cool. No payments involved. Initially looked at building it in an Airtable, but I need the paid version to be able to prevent double booking. Amelia is not going to work. Uh, I know it's not going to work. So what you're looking for is something with a feature called inventory booking. Um, Changing employees to vehicles, but that only shows on the front end. It doesn't change it on the back end. I tried to make Amelia work for something like this for like it was a co-working space, same thing. Like they had inventory of spaces and booking, whatever, and it was not going to work. WP booking system is almost too simple. It may work. Melanie, have you ever played with Lovable? This is a great case for a Lovable app. Uh, I bet you would love this. How many of you have tried Lovable or something like it that is an app creator? So basically, Lovable is an AI that talks to a Supabase database, which is an open source database with lots of extra tools. And you can build a really, really nice app like quickly from a prompt. For example, well, I can't show it. I built a tool to manage domain names for our agency. I'm still tweaking around with it, um, and it's pretty darn good. I would suggest giving this a little time because I would bet that with a text prompt, you could build an app that just works. Um, I'm not aware of a WordPress I'm sorry. This would be a web app. So let's see if we can get an example of something here we can look at. Discord. I don't want Discord. I want examples. Ah, so I mean, it'll build websites, kind of. Um, Like this is a web app, right? And it's terrible because it's in a, let's go to the project, see if we can. Okay. So this is the web app, and it's just, they built all this with prompts, right? So it's like a website, but it's an app. It would work on the phone because it would size correctly. But I mean, it's basically it's a React app on top of a database. It's pretty cool. Like booking cars and things like that is not a great job for WordPress. It is not desktop only. Like the app that I built, it's responsive, right? So it works in a browser, and then if you're on a mobile phone, it's responsive. Yeah. Terry, interesting. This looks like it's for rentals. Have you seen this one, Melanie? I've never heard of these people. That's the only. Okay, you've looked into this one. I'm not familiar with MotoPress. Was there something about this one that wouldn't work? Okay. So tinker around with Lovable, and I think it will. How's the best way for me to express this? It it could be really great, or a time suck that you will also enjoy very much. How about that? Like the things you can do with Lovable, and watching it from a prompt build this app with the UI and everything, like it's just there, and it, it's amazing. Um, I've I've also I've also spent many hours playing with this, uh, and I wouldn't call it wasted time, but I didn't have anything at the end of it that it actually wanted to use it when it was all done. But that was me learning how to use the app. I've got a pretty darn good app built with it right now. So give that give that a try. See what you think. Any other suggestions for Melanie? The feature is called inventory booking in booking calendars. And if you find one, I would really try to push this over onto a SaaS if one exists that you can work with. But otherwise, yeah. Bookly is a WordPress plugin. Hmm. All right. Interesting challenge. All right. Melanie, let us know how that goes. All right. Next up is TJ. Hey, TJ. So TJ and I got to hang out at WordCamp Portland. Um, yes, yes, yes. So I mentioned I have a client who I wish I had been following your scope principles with from the beginning. I brought up putting the genie back in the bottle, so to speak, in order to get back on the right track. And you said that it was possible and suggested I bring it up here. What would be some best practices or strategies to transition this client to the scope strategy? Okay. So man, I wish I'd caught this earlier in the hour. Okay. So I need more detail to be able to answer this well. Um, so TJ, can you give me, I'm going to go to the next question. Can you give me a block of detail in the chat to just let me know a little bit more about the situation, right? Because I know we talked about it, but I've slept since then and I don't remember the details. So if you'll just drop some more detail there in the chat. Number one, I think probably everybody in the chat will relate to your situation. And number two, I'll try to answer it a little better. Fair enough? And in the meantime, Tanya has another question. All right, Tanya. Another client got hit by the Shoe Sensations credit card checking bot person. And have we talked about this one? I feel like I should know what this is. Is this something that we've talked about in office hours? This is strangely specific. Shoe Sensations was hacked last year. Okay. Anyway, they have a ton of failed purchases and spammy customers. Yes. Okay. There doesn't appear to be any way to remove them. You can delete the sales, but not the customers. You may have to delete the users if they created users. Um, it's not going to be transients. The IP addresses are all clean, so they aren't getting blocked. Any way to remove these, or if I am stuck with them, can I claim them as dependents on my tax return? Oh, I love it. I love it. The people I want to claim on my dependents are all the people are offering me office cleaning services through my contact form. Is anybody else getting those? Um, we have office cleaning services in your area. Anyway, oh, they're not in the users, but they are in the, and you can't delete them. Mm. So this is unfortunate. This is the new WooCommerce interface, and there's apparently no longer a way to delete customers. Which, I mean, in most cases, you wouldn't want to delete a customer, except when you want to delete a customer. Interesting. Man, I've spent a lot of money on this website, haven't I? So yeah, Tanya just said they don't exist in users. You may be able to do it. It's not what I wanted to do. There used to be a customer detail record here, which I also don't think you can do now. Isn't that something? That actually emails the user. I don't like this at all. Yeah, Alvin, go into PHP my admin. Not awesome. I don't like this, but I also don't know. I mean, we could sit here and Google it. I don't know how. It's not helpful at all. I don't like this new interface. I haven't really seen this. Huh. Don't like this at all. And this is just going to take us to the user profile. My goodness. So they were guest checkouts with a false credit card. I also don't know how to deal with that. Um, you okay, if you went into the database and cleaned it that way, what would that actually impact? They were one-time purchasers, orders, the orders are already deleted, right, Tanya? Could we file this under what could go wrong? Um, what could go wrong? Hang on a minute. Let's take a look and see what this looks like. All right, there is now a customer lookup table too. Where have they stored customers? Yeah, this is going to take some doing. Okay, they're right here. So try it. And by try it, I mean make a backup, make a staging site, try it on the staging site. Uh, so what would if you deleted these? Um, I wonder how the ID incrementing is going to work here. But if you delete the orders already and then you delete the customers, the only place that customer existed before that point was on the order. So probably you would be okay. All right. Melanie has exercised the skills of research and has found this interesting topic. So take a look at that. It's very old. They truly understand the importance of this feature. That's awesome. Um, how about that? It would transients should not affect users. So, um, make a staging site, try to delete the users, see what happens. And the thing that I would be concerned about is as a site is adding customers, notice it is incrementing the customer ID one at a time, right? So if you're up to customer number 500 and you delete from 500 to 600 and 601 exists, I think what's going to happen is the next customer created is going to get created at the end of the list. But it might try to fill that. I don't think it's going to try to fill that gap. And even if it did, I don't think it would cause a problem. However, this is all like do at your own risk. Buyer beware. Okay. Um, so it's it's probably going to just keep incrementing at the end. I think you'll be okay to delete these, and maybe that will make them not show in the front end. Try it, and just make a staging site and see what happens. Okay, that was fun or not? Okay, my goodness gracious, puzzling. Why make that so hard? I don't know why. Anyway. Okay. TJ, did we get any more detail? Okay. Here's TJ's detail. And we're at 7 minutes after, so I will endeavor to answer this in the next 5 minutes before we wrap up. We'll go long today. Okay. Yes, it is a lot to wrap up in a chat. I remember we talked about this in some detail. Working with a local business owner that purchased a shop last year, and neither she nor the previous owner are very technical, and it has been like pulling teeth to get logins to work. Yeah. Okay. How many of you have already worked with this very customer? Like you know this customer and who they are already. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. These are all of Tanya's customers. Okay. I'm struggling with making the day-to-day updates for her while also considering the redesign. Budget seems to be difficult, of course, to get a solid idea, but I suspect cost is a concern. It certainly is. Tanya says I might be one of her friends. I started with an hourly model that I quickly realized is not working now, given all that I'm discovering needs to be done. The more I do for her, the more I see that needs to be fixed. I feel like I am dragging the client along and need to educate as I am doing. Unless I am bringing something up to do, it sounds like It seems like the conversations don't happen and every little thing will cost her money. I want to break out of this hourly invoicing cycle and basically start fresh. Okay, great. So there are and again, this is something we could probably unpack more later, but there's a few major things that stick out in this instance. How many of you ever feel like you are dragging the client along in a client relationship? Okay. So here's the thing. There is a disconnect between what the client thinks is important and what you think is important. That's why you have to drag them along. And you may know that these things are important, but if the client doesn't think they're important or doesn't care, it's very difficult for you to get them to pay you for something that they don't consider a priority, right? So sometimes it's just not going to be a good client to work with, full stop. But if you want to work with the client, the place to start is not in the details. The place to start is at the 10,000-foot level of objective. And that in this case, it could look like, hey, we've been working together for a while here. I've tried to be helpful. It seems there's so many things to go. What we need to probably do here is press pause and let's zoom out and take a big look at, why do you have a website? Like, period. Why do you have a website? What do you want for this website to accomplish? It's the purpose, the goals. What the heck are we doing? Are we just having a website to have a website? Are we fixing problems for a website, but we don't know how the website fits into the whole strategy of, digital for this business, etc. So that's the place. Like, zoom way out. And from that, you got to get together and have a meeting of the minds on, these are discover, what does the client think is important? What do they want out of their website? And from that, that's where you start the work. Like, you can't convince them to fix these little detail things because they don't understand how it connects to the bigger picture. And now you got to bill them for these things that are important, but they don't understand why. And now you're at an adversarial point, right? So, big picture. Why are we doing this? What are we trying to do? For this goal, then, what does the website need to be in this? Like, this is what we want people to do on the internet in regard to our business. So how do we make the website fulfill that purpose, right? And from there, you can say, okay, if this is the purpose of the website, we need to get rid of this bunch of stuff that's on the website, or the website does, or whatever, maybe, I don't know. Or these are the items that we need to fix in order to get us from point A to point B, right? But at that point, you've connected all these technical things that the client doesn't understand. Heck, they can't even log into their website, or they don't know logins. So they don't understand all these technical things, and you don't want to educate the client. They probably don't want to know. This is really one, I think you and I talked about this, TJ, but it's one of the things that I see folks struggling with. It's one of the common mistakes in web development. Like, we want to be helpful to people, right? See if this resonates with anybody else here. We want to be helpful to people. And because of that, we think we need to train them how to do all the technical things that we know how to do. And that's not what people want. You're providing a service in this education that they don't want. Like, they don't want to know this stuff. The reason they brought you in is because they don't want to deal with it, right? So stop educating and help them get from where they are now to where they want to go. Define what that goal is, and then create a process to get from point A to point B. Okay, so how many of you can relate to this experience? Because I have worked with this exact same client many times, many years ago, or at least probably their aunt or uncle, right? Yes, it's so common, right? It's so common. So give yourself a break. Stop putting pressure on yourself to have to educate the client, because it's counterproductive to your business model, quite frankly. Educating the client is generally that's not going to keep you in business. So you can be helpful by making the website what they need it to be. You be the expert on the technical stuff, and let the website become a tool for them to grow their business. That's where they're the expert, right? Okay. So Terry's getting messages to this effect from a client during office hours. Yeah. So it's totally common. We all have been through these phases. So there, I mean, we could spend a whole hour on this, but hopefully that's important. And I love how everybody relates to this, or so many of you have expressed in the chat that you relate to this because it's so common. We run into it all the time. So we can all breathe. Let's breathe. Stop. We don't have to force the client to be or do anything they don't want to be or do. That's not our job. Our job is not to fix the client. Our job is to build a website. So there we go. All right. Thomas, feel free, TJ, feel free as we go forward to ask more questions about this because this situation will certainly develop. This can be an episodic addition to office hours. And yes, by the way, if any of you are not in Slack, I'm just going to drop the link bundle in. myagencysuccess.com. If you'll put your name and put your email in there, they'll get you hooked up with Slack. Also, if you weren't here at the beginning, there's a number of new links there, which have the upcoming live streams right here. Make sure you're registered for all of those. Hey, look, the date got updated, even during office hours. That's miraculous. All of this. So that is there. My agency success isn't working. I may have broken that. That might have been me. That might have been me. I might have broken that. You know what I'll be doing now after we sign off? I think possibly by creating those redirects that I broke the actual live page, which lives on ConvertKit. And so y'all have a great afternoon. And you know what I'll be doing after we sign off. Okay, so that wraps it up for us today. Hopefully this was fun and you learned a few things and related to a lot of things as well. Have a great weekend, and I will see you back here Tuesday for the Agency Success Hosting Blueprint, where I'll be unpacking really interesting ways to host your website on all the cool stuff that hosting.com offers. That does it for us today. Again, I'll see you back here next week on Agency Success from hosting.com, where we go further together.